Survivor Oz as we come to you for our very first live episode of 2015 as we reveal the top 25 episodes of Survivor as voted for by you. That's right, you. If you're watching it live, I'm pointing at you. If you're not watching this live and you're listening to this as a recording, well, I'm still pointing at you. Whatever. We're trying Google Hangouts for the first time of our very first live episode, so please bear with us if things fuck up completely. We're trying this, and it seems to be better than Spreecast because I can do things like this. But we're very excited to be here for Survivor Oz's first live episode of the year. But anyway, we've got on the line, I have with me 5 Ozlets who I can actually look at for once. I can see their faces, and if you're watching this live, you can see their faces as well for the very first time. And including, I think, for the very first time, we have 2 Canadians on the line. Let's start with one of them now. It is the man who doesn't like to veto. It is Colin Hilding. Colin, welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Thanks, and I apologize in advance that everybody watching this has to see all of our faces for the next hour, hour and a half.
I don't. I like it that I can see other people besides me. Also joining us from Canada, I believe this could be his very first live episode. Please correct me if I'm wrong there. Andrew Shadlock, mate, welcome to Survivor Oz. Have you been on a live episode before?
I was there briefly for the Oz cruise this year, but I didn't last the whole thing.
Right, yeah, nobody did. It was pretty shit. So
I'll stick it out for this one, I promise.
Good, all right, I'm glad, because I'm a bit Canadian. I'm wearing my Toronto Raptors shirt. I'll speak into the microphone so people can hear me. Yes, exactly, woohoo. Also joining us from the same continent, but a different country, a little bit south of you guys, it is the one, the only Anthony Rossi. Rossi, welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Good to be here, and I don't apologize, because you get to see me, so... It's a win.
Yes. Oh, it's a big win. The ladies and guys and whatever are going to go crazy over you, Rossi. So we're glad to see you. Yes, exactly. Also joining us is a man who's taken 2 minutes away from watching the tennis and is probably prepping himself for a Nick Kyrgios battle tonight. It's the one, the only Jared Lubick. Jared, welcome back to Survivor Oz.
Thank you. Consider yourselves very lucky that I've given up that tennis to come here. And good work coordinating buffs, by the way.
Yeah. Is Kyrgios going to win tonight?
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to say no.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll ask the other tennis fanatic here about my favourite female player, Eugenie Bouchard. Is she going to win, Colin?
Oh, let's be honest. It doesn't matter if she wins as long as she twirls.
Yeah. That's sexist, Colin. That's sexist.
Twirls or twerks?
Well, God, if they asked her to twerk, I couldn't imagine Canada would declare war on Australia, I reckon. The reaction that got in the media. Anyway, and as you heard just then, from Snug, it's a man you actually get to see for once. That's the reaction he gets. You look at his face. It's Noah Groves. Noah, welcome back.
Finally, people get to see the wonder that is Snug, Tasmania, Australia. Such a beautiful place. Currently raining and it's the middle of summer, but that's Snug for you. And very much looking forward to this show. And as long as Eddie Fox doesn't get 13, I think it's going to be a success.
I think we're safe that Eddie Fox wasn't an episode. So I think we're fine. This is the 3rd time we've done a top 25 poll in the month of January. We really enjoy doing these. It's kind of our off-season in the new year. We obviously have the Oscars that we do between the middle of the year period for the off-season, but this time it's a bit different. We do the top 25. We then back it up. We're going to have our massive rankings cast, which I'll tag no doubt at the end of this episode. We'll get to that later because that's starting this week. But this year, of course, we asked you to vote for the top 25 episodes in the history of Survivor. Given that we're just about to see the 30th season, we've just seen the cast release for that, the 15th year of Survivor, we thought we'd go over all the episodes that have ever been in Survivor and get you to vote for them. Now, I'm going to get straight into this review, but I will just say we had a record amount of people voting for one of our January polls. We had over 700 of you vote, so just on that alone, thank you very much. It's an honour that we had that many people vote. At least every season had at least one episode voted for, so that was a pretty big deal there. 248 different episodes were voted for at least once, and 171 of those episodes was voted for at least twice. going forward. So not too bad. That 171 episodes in Survivor. I think there's 441 episodes that we had up there on the page to vote for. Got at least 2 votes. So there you go. Now, before we start counting down the top 25, I want to go quickly around the room and not necessarily tell me which 3 you would like. I mean, you can tell me that. I won't write them down. But I'd like you to each tell me what you think the top 3 will be, and then at the end we'll compare that. So, Noah, I'm going to start with you. What do you think the top 3 episodes of Survivor are going to be on this poll?
I would put a bet on Trial by Fire, Australian Outback. I think The Great Lie has a good shot. And I think a lot of Pearl Islands ones do, but if we're talking top 3, yeah, Trial by Fire, The Great Lie, and maybe we need a recent one, but let's go with, I can't remember the name, is it The Marooning? I'm not sure, episode 1 of Borneo.
The very first episode, okay. Jared, what are your predictions here for the top 3?
Ooh, I definitely think the first episode, I think The Marooning's got a good shot. As for the other 2, I think maybe some of the premieres. So I'd say the Heroes vs. Villains premiere. And then let's just double up on Heroes vs. Villains and say the merge episode of that.
Heroes vs. Villains, so that's what, like episode 9 or something, isn't it? Episode, yeah, something along those lines. Episode 10, I think it might be. Colin, what's your top 3 prediction?
I think it's safe to say The Great Lie is going to be in there. It would be shocking if Trial by Fire wasn't at least close to the top 3. I'd kind of like to see the Palau finale end up in there too. I think that might have a shot.
All right. Andrew, what are your predictions?
I definitely think the top one's probably going to be from Borneo, either the Marooning or even the final episode with the rat and snake speech. I think that could be really high up. And then the other one I'm thinking will probably be pretty high up has got to be Heroes vs. Villains, like either the first one or the merge episode, like Jared said.
Okay, all right. I'm just going to loosely put that there. Rossi, what's your top 3 prediction?
I'm going to go with the final 4 from Borneo, the last episode. I'm going to go with the finale of Thailand.
Oh.
I don't know. Just going to throw that out there. And just recency bias, the finale of Sewa del Sur.
Alrighty, very interesting choices. I will let you know if any of you are right, because we're going to get straight into this. So, how generally we work in these top 25, we kind of group them into 5 and then keep going. But I think really on this one, because it's a little, I don't know if we're going to talk as in-depth as we did, say, with the moments and the one-time players, but we'll see how we play.
Not so much Eddie Fox talk.
Well, who knows, Noah? There could be some Eddie Fox episodes. I will tease you by saying that the top 25 has 15 different seasons covered. So there are 15 seasons in total that made the top 25. Let's start off straight away with number 25, the 25th best episode in the history of Survivor, as voted for by you. Now, this episode is a fairly recent episode within the last couple of years. It was the 5th episode of this season, and it was an episode remembered for somebody going on a little bit of a issue with Rice and yelling and throwing chairs around, and then essentially going off and having to be pulled aside by Jeff Probst to calm himself down. It is Persona Non Grata, the 5th episode of Caramel, which I'm glad this made it, because personally this was one of my top 3. Bit disappointed it didn't make it further, but it still snuck in. Let's start off with Andrew. Persona Non Grata, should it make the top 25? What did you think of that episode?
Yeah, I definitely think it should make the top 25. I'm surprised it's so low, because it really is like something that's never happened on the show before.
Indeed. Rossi?
I didn't want it to make the list. I didn't like that episode at all. I'm upset that it made it.
No,
I'm not happy.
You gonna throw some rice out or something? Or?
I'm just gonna throw rice
Do it.
in the fire. It goes.
Yep. Okay. Colin, Persona Non Grata.
Finale.
Colin?
I'm not really upset like Rossi is. I'm not surprised it made it. I think it's definitely one of the most memorable episodes, but in my opinion, maybe memorable for the wrong reasons. I don't think that's really the best that Survivor has to offer, but I'm not surprised it made the list for sure.
Jared?
Yeah, I think it's a fair spot for it. I think it was an episode that really sort of polarized the viewers. Some people loved it, other people hated it. So I think 25 is a good spot for it.
Noah?
I am surprised it made it in here because I thought this episode was hated. I rather like it just because it's so. I like when Survivor does different, and like we had the tribal council at the challenge, and there was a lot of drama going on, and yeah, it seems to get a lot of hate, and people say like, "Oh, it was wrong to have Brandon on the show, and it's unethical or something," but people like drama. Like, we can take the high road and say it's wrong or whatever. People like drama, and I think that most people were entertained by it, so I'm happy it made it, but I don't think it's any higher than the 25th best episode of Survivor ever. I wouldn't put Caramoan anywhere near the top 24.
Anne Curtis is watching. Hi, Anne, one of our long-term listeners, viewers. She's saying that she thinks Jeremy's Blindside episode will be up there from Someone Del Sur, so we'll wait and see how that plays out. And anybody else who's watching, remember, you can comment. I think on YouTube, basically, is where you can comment now, and we do see those. So thank you very much, Anne, for doing that. But there you go. Number 25, Persona Non Grata from Caramel. And I fucking love having sound effects. It's fantastic. Alrighty, they got 19 votes, by the way. I will mention that. So just snuck into the top 25. Episode 24, the 24th greatest episode in the history of Survivor. It was from a season in the middle period of Survivor, between 10 and 19. As a lot of these episodes, you will see, it came down a lot to the tribal council, just the outcome of what happened. Blindside, of course, is what we all love. But before the tribal council, we had a lot of wheeling and dealing going on here to really try and shake up the game. And when we get to our rankings cast, you will hear a lot of people talking about some of the people involved in this shake-up and to see how far they will get in our rankings cast. It involved one of, and I know Noah agrees with me, one of the most underrated alliances of all time, trying to flex their muscles, but then they actually got it all turned over on them, and in the end, it really was the end of the so-called Four Horsemen. I do, of course, speak of episode 10 of Fiji, It's a Turtle. So, actually, hang on, let's try that again. Episode 10 of Fiji, It's a Turtle. Let's start with you, Noah, for this one. 24, Fiji. I'll be really honest. I'm a bit surprised that a Fiji episode made the top 25.
Yeah, this is a hashtag blindside. I did not expect to see Fiji in here, especially when you said only 15 seasons got a vote. If I'm not mistaken, is this the Edgardo boot? Or
It is the Edgardo boot. Yes.
Yeah, this really strong episode, and I think Fiji is worthy of making at least one spot in the top 25, even though, again, I'm shocked, but I think, yeah, this is a very good episode of Survivor.
Jared?
Yeah, it's a good shake-up. I didn't expect it to sit here. Fiji isn't the most memorable season, but I'd agree that it's a fairly good episode amongst the bunch.
Colin, we talked a lot about Fiji recently, over 34 hours worth of podcasting. Is this worthy of number 24 on this list?
Well, it's the most memorable Fiji had to offer. It's not that bad. The tribal's to watch.
Beautiful. Rossi?
Yeah, like Noah said, blindsided that it made it into this list, but no, it's definitely a worthy mention. I think a bit underrated for the strategic gameplay in it, so I'm happy to see it on the list.
And Andrew?
I'm definitely surprised to see it on the list. I didn't think anything from Fiji would get on the list. I guess it really is probably the best episode of the season, so if Fiji's going to get represented, might as well be this episode.
There you go. Alrighty. Congratulations. It's the Turtle, Fiji, episode 10. Alright, number 23. That got 21 votes, by the way, as well, to make it in the 24th spot. 23. Another recent season. in the last 2012, end of 2012. We're looking at Philippines for this one, and again, it came down to the tribal council. Really, I guess you could say. I think Jeff Probst said it was one of the most confusing tribal councils in the history of Survivor. It involved idols being shown, one pointlessly, and it involved the demise of a great character, Jeff Kent, that then of course followed with one of the best final words we have ever seen. I do of course speak of episode 8 from Philippines, Dead Man Walking. Colin, I'm going to start with you this time. 23, Dead Man Walking, Philippines. Have we got Colin still?
I'm just in the middle of rewatching the season, and that's me.
No, we got
Hello.
you now. Sorry. Hello.
All right. So I'm just in the middle of. Hello.
Hi.
There you go.
This Google Hangouts works great, doesn't it?
It's brilliant. Thanks, Google.
All right. Can anybody hear me now?
Yes, we can.
All right. So I'll try one more time. So I'm in the middle of rewatching Philippines. I'm not at this point yet, so I haven't seen it in a while. But I mean, Jeff Kent, and it definitely was a good tribal council. I'm happy with anything from Philippines making this list. I'm hoping it's not the last one, though.
Alrighty, let's go. Still in Canada, Andrew.
I'm really happy to see this one on the list. I would have liked to see it a little bit higher. Definitely one of my favorite episodes from Philippines.
Beautiful, Rossi.
Yeah, it's a very solid episode. And remember, this was like one of the first episodes where I was actually confused as to what happened after the episode. I remember writing down who voted for who and not still understanding anything. So definitely a good episode.
Mr. Lubeek?
Yeah, it's a solid choice. I agree. I think sort of there's a couple of episodes from the Philippines that would sort of be worthy of the top 25, so hopefully it isn't the last one.
Noah?
This episode is really good and has one of the best challenge wins of all time. I think it's this episode, right, with Jonathan Penner and the snake challenge when he was going to get voted out. I'm embarrassed if it wasn't that episode, but that was one of the best of all time. And yeah, the Jeff Kent vote. Abby Maria's got an idol too, and then Obama's taking my money. This is coming off like, I think One World is an enjoyable season, but this is coming off Redemption Island through One World, where all the votes pretty much were predictable and not that interesting. And then we get into this merge, and we had the great merge episode, and then we've got this episode where things are just cray-cray. So yeah, this is definitely worthy.
Hashtag cray-cray. There you go.
Yeah, I can't believe I said that.
Congratulations to Dead Man Walking. Number 22, an episode from a season that does feature heavily on this list, often considered the greatest season of all time, Heroes vs. Villains, and there's really no other way of saying it, but this is the final episode of Heroes vs. Villains, episode 14, Anything Could Happen. Noah, the finale of Heroes vs. Villains at number 22.
No, I don't think so.
Veto?
I think, well, you said it's being used heavily, so I assume there will be a bunch of other ones, but it's a strong finale, but I'm sure there are better finales that aren't going to make the list, and I'm sure there are better, well, I know there are better episodes from this season, and I'm sure some of them will make the list, some probably won't. Yeah, I don't think this is the top 25 episode. It's good, but it's not brilliant.
Okay, Jared?
For me, it's kind of the most memorable thing about the episode is that Final Four Immunity Challenge, and apart from that, I don't think that much to sort of push it into the top 25 territory.
Okay. Colin?
Yeah, I don't know if this is the best of Heroes vs. Villains. I kind of think that there are so many people who just wanted to get Heroes and Villains on this list that they just picked ones at random. Either that or we're going to see a whole bunch more from that season.
Rossi?
Yeah, I think the only reason it made it this far into the list was solely due to the fact of that final challenge. Because other than that, I don't think there were many outstanding moments. But
Okay, Andrew?
good season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of this episode. I agree that like the signature moment's definitely the final immunity challenge, but overall, I mean, it still had some great moments. I was obviously a little disappointed with the winner, but other than that, I could see it being top 25.
Interesting that in the video clip that will be published later this week or today, I don't know when. The clip I used for it isn't the immunity challenge. It's different to it. Just spoiler alert, Noah. Come on now, just ruin it. But they got 23 votes, same as Philippines episode 8. So they were technically tied for 23, but Heroes Villains got more 1 votes than that. So yeah, 22. That goes through. So yeah, well done, Heroes Villains. Number 22. Number 21. This episode also got 23 votes, so just snuck ahead as well. Again, as always, very memorable for its tribal council. However, there was some other stuff going on in this episode that I think make it a worthy episode, involving a person being promised that if they stepped down, they would be saved, and there was finger crossing and all that sort of stuff. But it really led into the tribal council where somebody didn't play an idol. They got completely blindsided. They weren't happy. They gave a very telling glare at the rest of them as he walked off, and it was the earliest we would see a certain Aussie lush get eliminated from the game. I won't say voted out, eliminated from the game. It is Micronesia, episode 10, I Promise. Rossi, do you promise that this should have made the top 25?
I don't know if I could promise you. Well, because it did, so. But, I think it's a good episode, but other than the blind side, I don't really know. I mean, I can't really remember anything that made it super stand out right now. But, yeah, it's pretty good.
Andrew?
Micronesia is my favorite season, so I would put almost any episode from it on this list. But I think this one definitely can make it. I loved the I Promise thing and the finger crossing at the immunity challenge. It was definitely like a major turning point in the season, so I could see why people would show it some love.
Colin.
I think there's definitely better episodes. Yeah, there's definitely better episodes from Micronesia. Not to say this is a bad one. If the rest of the Micronesia episodes that I think are better didn't make this list, and this was like the only good thing the season had to offer, I wouldn't be surprised for it to make not the best of Micronesia that ends up on here.
Jared.
I love Micronesia, but I feel like people who think it's overrated probably think this is the episode where things sort of really start to kick up a notch. So I think that probably got a lot of votes.
What buff are you wearing there, Jared, by the way, just for
the hero's sake?
Okay, beautiful. I'm wearing the oh, we're both wearing the same season. Oh, how sweet. Noah.
Yeah, again, I don't think this. I think this is there purely on the Aussie boot. The Promise stuff is fun, and I always love where Probe tempts people down. But Sam Mundell Sir did that better. I think this is here because people, oh yeah, that's the Aussie boot episode, I'll vote for that one. But in saying that, it's not a bad episode, it is a standout one, but I don't think it's a top 25 episode at all.
All right, there we go, number 21. Last one of the 20s, and I know at least one person's going to be very happy that this episode made it. I'm actually very happy too that an episode from this season made it. It's from the first 10 seasons. It is an episode very well known for a reward challenge that some would say gave the person who won this season the win, because the interaction between a person in this challenge and his loved one essentially saved him, according to a lot of people who could have voted him out that night, from being eliminated, and therefore he kept staying in the game, and he eventually went on to win. I'm talking about from Vanuatu, episode 11, Surprise and Surprise Again. I'm going to go to Colin with this straight away, because Colin, I know you're a big Vanuatu fan.
Yeah, and this is just Chris at his best. I mean, you can't get any better than him in this one episode. I mean, if nothing else happened this episode, just watching how Chris handled that whole situation, the guilt trip on his wife, I mean, it's hilarious to watch in retrospect. So, love everything about Vanuatu, but this was like the beginning of the greatness that is Chris.
Got 24 votes, I will say. Narrowly missed out on making a bit further into the top 20. Rossi, episode 11 of Vanuatu.
No, it's a really good episode. I'm surprised it made the list, to be honest. I didn't think, in my recollection of the episodes, and I thought it would make it. I didn't think this would have made it, but I'm really happy. Good episode, good strategy.
Jared?
Yeah, I'm happy it made it. I was a bit sort of concerned that Vanuatu mightn't get any episodes on the list. But this is definitely sort of a turning point of the season that just kind of starts the greatness that is Chris's run to the end.
Andrew?
I'm pretty surprised to see it, just because in my mind it's not all that memorable. But I guess it really is the major turning point, like Jared said, in Vanuatu, and I guess that's why it made the list. But I don't know if I'd rank it in my top 25.
Noah?
It's okay. I'm sounding like the Grouch in this episode, but I'm not a big fan of the and surprise again. Here's your loved ones and here's your loved ones again. Whatever. We didn't need that, but yeah, it is one of Vanuatu's top episodes, and I'm happy Vanuatu made it into the list. And I might be wrong, but I'm guessing this might be its only representative, so I'm fine with it, I guess.
Of course, the episode where they had the whole web chat being brought back from Australia, but of course they were just standing in front of a screen, and they're like, "Surprise! I'm really here!" Yet every single screen in the background was essentially the same for each person. So anyway, so there you go. Vanuatu makes this list. Let's get into the top 20. Number 19, from a season we've already seen at least one episode of. This got 25 votes. Again, down to a tribal council, a very memorable tribal council. Down to the fact that one person had an idol, gave it away, used an idol on himself, and the three amigos were safe, and it was the end of Philip Shepherd. I do, of course, speak of Caramoan episode 10, Zipping Over the Cuckoo's Nest. 2 episodes from Caramoan made the top 25. Andrew, would have you guessed that?
I hate seeing that much Caramoan in the top 25 at all, but this is probably my favorite episode from the season. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not happy. I'm not disappointed. Right in the middle.
You'll work it out soon. What do you feel? Rossi, what's your take?
I'm shocked that this made it. I think I'm surprised based on the amount of people, based on the people who would vote in this poll. I don't think that it's well received at all. So I'm shocked in that regards. But I think if voting based on entertainment, then this was pretty good, because you didn't expect something like that to happen. So I guess semi-notable / worthy.
Okay. Colin?
I think it's a lot better than the other Caramoan that was on here. I am seeing a trend, though, that there's a lot that seem to be based just solely on how good the tribal councils were, and maybe not necessarily everything that came before them. But if a Caramoan episode is going to make the list, I'm happy it's this one.
Jared?
Yeah, I'm a bit surprised. I think, just like Colin said, I think the tribal council saw that lasting impression that the people get from the episode, so they're kind of just voting based on that. I think even in this episode, the tribal council could have been more interesting if different things had happened.
Noah?
A tribal council is a big part of the episode, and that should be taken maybe 50% in consideration, but just thinking about the other parts of it, you have the kind of jumping in the water challenge, which wasn't that interesting, and then Cochrane being a bro, which was, and then I think that was the water challenge with Philip not participating, I believe. I don't think the actual episode was that interesting, but the tribal council was brilliant, no taking away from it. This is so negative, but I don't think this is a top 25 episode either. I actually prefer Persona non grata over this one, but too much Eddie Fox in this list.
Everyone rigs this with Eddie Fox. What's going on?
You've been waiting a year for
campaigning
that.
to get himself in every list that we do.
It's Eddie. It's Eddie. He's like, oh, he's another list. He's probably going to win Greatest Survivor of all time in the Oscars this year. I forgot it was on. If Eddie Fox wins Greatest Survivor of all time, I quit. I'll go over those choices here. I'm just reading the comments. Riley, hello, Riley. Oh, we miss you, Riley. She says, I think the Heroes vs. Villains premiere will be pretty high up there. And you were good before, but now you just upset me. You said never put One World and enjoyable in the same sentence again. Made me cringe. Those two don't mix. They do incredibly mix. One World is enjoyable and beyond enjoyable. So, sorry, Anne, you're wrong. And Noah says, Riley, love heart. Aw, isn't that sweet? Hello, Riley. That's a clap for you, Riley. Yay. Riley's here. And what Anne said. So going over what has been chosen so far before we get to number 18. So number 25, Persona Non Grata, episode 5 of Caramoan. 24, It's a Turtle, episode 10 of Fiji. 23, Dead Man Walking, episode 8 of the Philippines. 22, Anything Could Happen, episode 14 of Heroes vs. Villains. 21, I Promise, Micronesia, episode 10. Vanuatu, episode 11 at number 20. Surprise and surprise again. And we just had episode 10 of Caramoan, Zipping Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Let's get into number 18. This got 25 votes, and I know this is from a season that somebody is very, very fond of. Now, talked a lot about tribal councils in terms of making lists. This tribal council is memorable, but there was another moment this episode which I nearly put in the highlights video because I almost thought that was better than the tribal council, but I still put the tribal council in because there was more additional moments that I forgot about. This episode involved an auction that, as always, are great. Yes. And it involved a plate of cookies and controversy that was then followed by a tribal council that involved one man getting berated, one man playing an idol, one man being told to get forgotten and go home, and then one man... it was a Randy show, let's be honest. Episode 9 of The Bone, nothing tastes better than $500. Noah, you're excited for this, aren't you?
I did not think Gabon would be making it into this, and I'm so damn happy. It is such a strong episode. This was the first season I ever watched, and I was enjoying it up to this point, but after this, it was just like, yeah, this is the show. This is the show. Like, the cookie moment, and Sugar giving it to Maddie, and then Randy's awful strategy of, I'm going to be an arsehole, so they vote for me. And I'll use an idol that I don't even know Bob has yet. And then the fake idol, which I still maintain is a bad move by Bob, but it was just such a classic moment. And I freaking love this season, so I'm so happy it makes it in. And I don't think it will get any more. Gosh, I hope it does.
You never know. Andrew?
I'm not really a Gabon fan at all, so I'm like not sure how I feel about that, but this is a really, really good episode. I'm pretty happy to see it on the list, but overall, not usually a fan of anything Gabon.
Rossi?
No, I am happy with Noah. Happy. Oh, that auction was so good. Randy being an idiot. Bob probably being an idiot too. Randy asking to bathe Susie in the bath.
Who wouldn't?
It's just an underrated moment. Yeah, no, happy.
Colin?
The second you said about your highlight video, I was worried you were going to say put Susie in the bath in your highlight video.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's why it ended up on this list, let's be honest. But I'm happy with anything Gabon being on here. I think there's so many good episodes in Gabon. This is just one of them, so I'm very happy.
Jared?
Yeah, I think it's a great episode. I think it's one of those episodes that really builds up as it goes along, but then actually sort of delivers at the end as well, so I think it's worthy of its spot.
Beautiful. Thank you, Gabon. Number 18, episode 9. Into number 17. Now, when it comes to these polls, we often hear the common words of recency bias always screamed at us whenever certain episodes of certain seasons, particularly the most recent season, make it. Here's one from the most recent season of San Juan del Sur. This was the penultimate episode that involved the end of one of the biggest characters of the season, Mr. John Mish, and the vote out of John. It is episode 13 of San Juan del Sur. Let's make a move. Jared, start with you. Your take on Let's Make a Move, San Juan del Sur.
I'm a bit surprised that it made. I didn't sort of see that many episodes from someone else making, and I can think of a couple that are probably a bit more memorable. I think, though, it was an episode that had a good payoff. I mean, we'd had this sort of build-up of Natalie wanting to get out John for sort of 3 episodes on end, and then for it to sort of finally come off, I think the audience was sort of ready and willing for that to happen.
Colin.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jared. I think if you just look at the episode as a whole, it's not so great. But when you put it in that perspective, where it really was one of the few times where there was a build-up that really did pay off, especially after being disappointed with the whole Jeremy versus Josh build-up early in the season, I could see why this one might make it.
Rossi.
Yeah, I guess the episode itself wasn't that good, but it had John and Jacqueline in it, so it's automatically top 10 episode of all time. So too low.
Andrew.
There's definitely better episodes from Samuel and Del Sur. I think the one where Drew goes home is probably even a better episode than this. But I could see the attraction of it. I think this has got to be recency bias. I don't see this one standing the test of time.
Noah.
I seriously don't know what the voters are smoking, because this episode is one of the worst of San Juan Del Sur, at least the merge, because there are so many damn good episodes. Like, when you said San Juan Del Sur, I'm thinking, great, we're going to get, I don't know, the Wes boot, the Jeremy boot, the Josh boot, the Drew boot, the finale. And this was one of the most obvious boots of the season. Like, John was a massive character, but they built it up so much that it was just like, I liked the build-up, but it was just like, yeah, John's going home. When all the other vote-outs were shocks and had great other stuff happening in the episode, this was just Natalie and John in a bed drinking wine, and then John getting voted out. Like, I would put this in the lower half of this season. There are so many good episodes, so I really hope we see another San Juan Del Sur, because I'm not happy with this pick.
I don't have a boo sound effect, but I want to see drama.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm becoming the villain.
Oh, drama. That's the villain music for you. Like, that's the controversy. And we kind of have, what's his, sad trombone? Yeah, maybe that's the choice. That's no.
Sounds quite happy for a sad trombone.
It is. So let's just say that again. Number 17. Let's make a move. San Juan Del Sur. Perhaps that works. Alright, number 16. We're into the episodes that got at least 30 votes. This got 32 votes. And we see our first premiere episode of a season coming into this. Another recent season. In fact, this time a year ago, we didn't know how good the first episode of this would be. It is the premiere episode, which we argued at the time that it was 2 episodes, and I've since backtracked over that. It's 1 episode. It's 1 episode. It is the premiere of the Hot Girl with a Grudge. Noah, Hot Girl with a Grudge, number 16.
Yes, I refuse to budge on the fact that it's 1 episode. I will continue to fight that. But yeah, this was a brilliant intro. Because coming off Philippines and bloodless water, we're like, come on, this is the time it's going to start sucking. And it was just so good. I wonder if it would have been so well received if the 2 episodes were split up. Like, if it was just the David boot, would we be calling this a top 25? I still think it's worthy, but I really think it's the whole package of the Garrett stuff and the David, which worked phenomenally well as a 1 extended 2 tribal episode, just the build-up to Garrett's vote, and all the other Gray Morgan stuff that's happening. So, yeah, I'm absolutely happy it's in here, but I am skeptical as to whether or not, if it was split up into 2, would it still be here?
I was so tempted in the highlights clip to just put the scenes of Morgan searching for an idol and like bending up but I didn't. Don't worry, Andrew. Hot Girl with a Grudge.
I like it. I'm happy with it. I think it was an awesome start to an awesome season, so can't complain.
We should really point out that Andrew is in a public space right now at school, so we might have, if any random people walk past Andrew, feel free to just get them to jump in and be like, yeah, I agree with that.
One too.
Because everyone will know what I'm talking about.
Rossi, Hot Girl with a Grudge.
At first, when you said a premiere, I got really concerned for some reason. I thought Caramel, and I said not another Eddie Fox. But yeah, I don't know, like a little skeptical like Noah. Part 1 of the episode was kind of meh, but part 2 really made up for it. So where do you put that? But yeah, fairly decent. I don't know if I'd label it at the top 25, maybe 32.
Very specific. I like it. Jared?
Yeah, I think it's a great episode. I think one of sort of the better premieres. I think when you think of premieres, the ones that immediately sort of spring to mind are the returning player seasons or sort of the half and half seasons. So for an all sort of newbie season to have such a great premiere was a bit of a surprise.
And Colin?
I think this is about the right spot. I mean, if they were just the Samson part of the episode, I wouldn't be surprised if it maybe landed in a top 30 list, not 25. But if it was just Garrett's, I'd put it maybe even close to top 10. So this being somewhere in the middle, I'm not that surprised it's here. I think it's one way or the other. It's a great premiere.
Alrighty, there you go. Thank you, Kagai and Premier. Just some other comments here. And Curtis, going back to the John Boot from Someone Del Sur. You mean one of the saddest episodes ever in Survivor history, and the episode that ruined Someone Del Sur for me. I love John Mish. And Total Drama Fan says, hope there'll be a bunch of Philippines and Heroes vs. Villains episodes. Well, we've already had one Philippines and one Heroes vs. Villains. There might be more. And Riley also says, Noah, love heart. So, alrighty, number 15. Now, this has got 35 votes, and I'll be honest, it's from a season that I wasn't expecting to have any make it, and the fact that it made it this far, a little bit surprised, but I'll be intrigued to see what other people say here. It was the third last episode, I believe, of this season, saw the demise and vote out of one of the biggest characters in the history of Survivor, but he would be back 2 more times, folks, so it's not like you wouldn't see him again. Memorable for a challenge in which 2 people were battling it out for immunity, and in the end it all took down to one person's back collapsing from him, and he didn't want medical to look at him because he didn't want to be pulled from the game, even though he'd be voted out about 5 minutes later. It's episode 12 of Token Teams, The Martyr Approach. Now, Noah, you just watched Token Teams. Is this episode worthy of 15th spot?
The Martyr Approach. I thought it was called the Dragon Slayer. Am I thinking of something else?
You're thinking of something else.
This is the Coach boot, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think I saw on Twitter Coach was actually campaigning for this to get in there, if I'm not mistaken. So he's one of the only people to campaign for Survivor Role's top 25 episodes of all time.
He actually did do that, so that makes a bit more sense now.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that swayed the votes. I think it's probably the best No, not probably, definitely the best episode of Token Teams. I think Token Teams is a bit meh, but having just rewatched it, this is a standout episode of the season, although I'm not sure if any of Token Teams is a top 25 episode, though.
Jared?
Yeah, it's another one of those episodes that is sort of good throughout, from sending Coach to exile and then his whole not eating thing, and then the challenge, and then sort of JT and Steven sort of backstabbing him at Tribal. It was sort of great from the get-go.
Colin?
I'd be really surprised if this is the one that Coach decided he wanted to campaign for, because it really is Coach at his most embarrassing and absurd. Or maybe that says more about who Coach really is than anything we could thought of. But it is very funny. I'm not a Coach fan, but I mean, it is hilarious to watch how absurd the man is in this episode, and his collapse of that challenge. I mean, I can't help but laugh at that every time I see it. So as for it to make the top 25.
Rossi.
Who is this jackass? Like, seriously. Yeah, not a fan of this episode. Except, no, never mind. Was this the challenge where they had the big Survivor one? Is that in this episode?
Well, that's every episode of Survivor, I believe, Rossi.
No, like the giant move with the word Survivor. Is that in this episode?
Say that again. I was too busy making laughter in the background.
Was this the one with the blindfold maze of the puzzle that is the maze is traced out Survivor?
No, I think wasn't that. Was that the last episode?
I think that was
or
pre-merge.
We're doing well with our knowledge here.
More
What
than
fucking
this
episodes
one.
are on these lists.
It's a memorable season, you can tell.
It's great. Brilliant. Love it.
Oh.
Love Poker Cheese.
I was gonna give it props, but I guess it's not in this episode, so it doesn't get any props. So it shouldn't be in this top. It should be 54.
54. All right. Okay. Andrew.
It has some really good moments. Like I'd say, Coach. That's where Coach has this huge moment at Exile, right? Like that's got to be one of the best Exile moments. But other than that, I mean, it's kind of a lackluster episode. I'm pretty surprised to see it this high up.
I'm trying to fucking find Coach mentioning it. Like, how hard does Twitter make it for you to find your favorites? What tweet's your favorite? Like, for fuck's sake, Twitter. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this was the one that he campaigned for, but I'll find it eventually. So, Coach, if you're listening, it worked. Number 15. So, there you go. All right, let's go into number 14. This one got 38 votes. Again, recency bias. Is it a thing? It's from the most recent season again. And there's no other way to say it, but the finale, episode 14, This Is My Time of Saman Del Sur. Start with you again, Andrew. Is this better than what we saw before with Let's Make a Move?
Yeah, this is definitely a better episode from San Juan del Sur. Like I'm a massive Natalie fan, so I thought this was like the perfect, it was a perfect episode for her. She really did like come full circle with It was great. It was a great episode. I like it on this list.
Aaron.
Yeah, I think it's really good. I think that was probably sort of, as we were talking about before, like the episode aired, probably one of like the most open finales where you were sort of trying to guess where it would go. And I think eventually what ended up happening, just kind of like the boot order of the people in that episode was different to what most people expected. So I think it's worthy of this spot.
Colin.
It's not a bad episode. I don't really think I see any San Juan del Sur episodes worthy of top 25 of all time. I think more than anything, it's funny that a lot of the so-called fans who have been out there claiming that nobody likes this season now have to hear how many people are voting for San Juan del Sur, whether it be recency bias or not.
Yeah, we're going to hear a lot about that, I feel, after this. Rossi.
Yeah, it was one of my top 3 predictions, but that was purely based on the recency of the season. I don't see it holding up over time as one of the best episodes, but it has got its moments with the Jacqueline Idol play and Baylor going home, but not maybe 33, I think.
Okay. One person I know is a huge fan of it is Noah Groves.
I think it is a tad bit of recency bias, but I'm quite critical on the finales. I don't think finales are often very good episodes, just because it's so most of the time it's pretty predictable and sometimes it drags and that. This was a great finale. I've watched 3 finales live with you, Ben, and this was the best one. I mean, I love Kagian and Bloodless Water, but I think this was the best finale of those 3. The Jacqueline Idol play, Jacqueline winning immunity, which was so epic, and then not knowing whether or not Keith or Natalie would be the one in the finals, and there was just so much crammed into this finale. We probably didn't need to force feed a child rice during it, but yeah, I'm not sure if it's a top 15 episode, but if we had to rank the finale, then maybe that's one we can do another time. I would put it in the top half of finale.
I'm telling you now, that's a clip I use for the highlights of the episode. Jeff Probst and the child. No, I didn't really. Don't get worried. So there you go. This is my time. Saman Del Sur. Number 13. Unlucky 13, perhaps. 41 votes. Recent episodes have got 41. I'm honestly surprised. I thought this was a top 10 episode. I thought this should have made the top 10. Personally, I'd put it up there probably. But I don't decide this list. This was a very iconic episode with the fact that you would argue the events of this episode changed the game. Because this was the very first time that you would say a power alliance that in the 3 previous seasons would have waltzed to the win got overturned. People woke up to them because they were being way too cocky, way too arrogant in the challenge, and it led to the demise of a very good friend of ours on this show, our best friend on this show, probably. Sorry, Gillian and Billy. John Carroll's vote out. It is episode 8 of the Marquesas. Jury's out. Colin, let's start with you.
I'm not even a fan of Marquesas as a season, really, and I mean this episode easily belongs in the top 10. It's not just because of, you know, the big shocker tribal council, and it was the whole build-up into it, where you see the cockiness of the Rotu, and then the getting their power, and then seeing how everything unfolded. I mean, everything about this episode, this one was in the top 10.
Andrew.
I can't believe this didn't make the top 10 either, even the top 5. Like, I think this is one of the best episodes. Like, I can still remember being 11 years old watching this episode and just losing it because it was so exciting at the time. Nothing had ever happened like it before. I'm shocked that it's this far down the list.
Rossi.
Yeah, similar to the other two. Definitely thought it would be a lot higher, especially considering how much the fans love this episode for its colossal effect on the show itself. I think the only thing about it is that people are only looking at that one moment instead of the whole episode. Well, people are looking at that whole episode as opposed to the one moment, because I think that's why it's lower than it probably should be.
Okay. Jared?
Yeah, I think this is a bit of a shock. I could have seen this sort of cracking the top 5, but I think, I mean, it got close to the top 10, so it's not in a horrible spot, but I could have seen it being higher.
No?
If this was top 25 influential episodes, this could easily be top 5, because it really was an episode that changed Survivor. And maybe you could put episode 1, Borneo, the merge, you could probably put the twist in Africa in there. But yeah, at the same time, and maybe this is because I only started watching in 2008 and not 2002, is that it's a great episode, but maybe because I've already seen power shifts and all that, is maybe I don't value it as much. I'm not sure if that is a thing or not, but it's a top 25, but I'm not upset at all that it didn't make the top 10. I think it's good, but it's not. I think there are 15 better episodes.
Okay, there you go. I will just do this. For the voters, should have made the top 10. Really should have. Anyway. Alright, moving into number 12. 46 votes for this episode. It's a season which we've already seen 2 episodes, and this is the last time we will see this season mentioned on this list. I will just point it out there before there's riots in the fucking streets of Survivor Oz offices. It's from San Juan del Sur again. Let's point it out that we'll go into the fact that one person was featured on this episode a lot, and to me is the dumbest contestant in the history of Survivor. It is episode 4 of San Juan del Sur. We're a hot mess. Noah, happy for this one?
This episode is so good. And just before I came on the call, I was thinking episode 4 of a lot of seasons seems to be really good, and this continues the trend. It was so good. I remember messaging you after the episode. You're like, yeah, it was meh. I'm like, what are you talking about? This is brilliant. This is hands down the best episode of the season. Like 4 people got votes, and we had this Drew character who was just a maniac. It was so good to watch. If this made the top 10, I would not be upset at all. This would probably be in my top 25 personal list. Maybe not this high, but it is such a good episode. I can't really say anything bad about this episode, and that's what you want around this spot. So I'm so happy it made it. And this is not recency bias. This is a top 25 episode. It is perfect.
Andrew.
Me?
Andrew.
Sorry.
If your name's Andrew, Jared, like, I mean, if you lied to us, I mean, that's fine, but...
You cut out
Go, Andrew.
I definitely agree with Noah. I think that this is top 25 for sure. Definitely, in my opinion, the best episode of San Juan del Sur. I feel like it was like your first sign of how good Natalie could be, because she really pulled off the move so well. And it just had so many great moments in it. I love this episode. I think it was awesome.
Jared, we'll go to you now. Why not?
Yeah, I think it's a good episode. I think this is sort of the type of episode you want to see with any character that you can't stand. You sort of want them to go out this way, and I think the editors just had a great time with it.
Rossi.
Yeah, I'm not going to go into the delusion about how that wasn't Natalie's move, but anyway. No, brilliant episode. Definitely worthy of the top 25. Maybe not this close to 10 over The Jury's Out, or whatever that episode was called. I don't think it was. I think it was just a great episode, entertaining. We got to watch the Droosh Bag, or whatever his name is, make an idiot of himself, so that too. But
Colin?
Good episode.
Let's be honest. I mean, there's not a lot of times in Survivor where they have the liberty to really just make a fool out of somebody. And they had a lot of material to work with Drew, but I mean, the editors were having a blast putting this episode together, and there isn't 1 second that's not entertaining watching Drew's downfall. I mean, this is the one time on San Juan del Sur where I'll say it's worthy of this spot. I mean, maybe even 1 or 2 spots higher.
Good choice, listeners. Well done. You voted well. I will say that, yeah, that's the last San Juan del Sur one. So just for those, people mentioned the Jeremy Boot episode. That's episode 8. Yes, spoiler, whatever. That's Wrinkle in the Plan. That came in at 96th. It only got 4 votes. So
It's
just
funny we talk about recency bias, and then some of these great recent episodes at 96. But yeah, I think there are still a bunch. The Wes episode, I would put in the top 3 San Juan del Surs, with the double idol play and the 2.5 men moment. Where did
2.5 men. That will make the best moments when we do that again. That is called This Is Where We Build Trust. That actually came in 44th. Got 12 votes.
It's not too bad.
So, there you go. All right. Last one before we get to the top 10. 57 votes this one got. Missed out in the top 10 by 3 votes. It is another premiere episode from another season that is often regarded as one of the greatest of all time. It was such a unique premiere episode. We've only seen it once. We've never seen it again. We've never seen people interact with a village and have to trade stuff. We saw Tijuana, according to Noah. Money, where's my money? And of course we saw the birth of Rupert and the whole pirates pillage, pirates steal. And of course I do speak of episode 1, Pearl Islands, beg, barter, and steal. Jared.
I think this is a great premiere. I said sort of earlier about sort of the non-returning player premieres generally not being as good, but this is definitely one of, if not the best premiere. I think I'd love to sort of see them sort of go into a village at the start and barter for their stuff again, and this sort of really set up Drake sort of dominating the early part of the game.
The Drake! Colin.
Yeah, I think that this is... I know there's going to be another Pearl Islands coming on after this. I think this is the best Pearl Islands had. It was an amazing premiere. And, I mean, this episode was so good that, I mean, I rewatched the commentary for this episode multiple times just because it's so funny to even hear them talk about how good this episode is.
To me, it was all about Nicole going home. That was a standout moment because I was sad that Nicole went. Speaking of somebody who was sad Nicole went, Rossi.
You're right, I was devastated.
I remember that from the commentaries.
No, this is... I wish it was 10, just so it was more better. It's a good episode. We have Tijuana yelling for money, Sandra negotiating in the village, Rupert stealing the shoes,
Lesbian shopkeeper.
Pirate bearded, yeah, wanting to steal Trisha's eyes or whatever.
Which, let's be honest, they were beautiful eyes. Like,
yeah, top 10 Survivor eyes, I'd say.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Brilliant episode.
Yeah, we'll do that. Andrew.
It's a good episode. I really, really liked it. I think this is probably the right placement on it for the list, too. I think there's probably 1 or 2 other Pearl Islands episodes that were a little bit better, but overall, this is the right spot for it, I think.
And Noah, please no mentions of Andrew Savage and that he wasn't robbed.
Well, his shoes were robbed, so he was robbed. Yeah, big shout out to the lesbian shopkeeper, love her. Keep doing your stuff. Yeah, this episode is so good, and Nick got him in a bit of trouble with his top 10 openers last week for not including it, and he really should have, so bad on you, Nick.
Defensive, Nick, that was opening scene, not episode. People didn't read. We've done opening episodes before, and that probably, I think, made the top few.
Well,
that was
I don't
the
think, in
opening
fairness to him, I
scene.
think that's a top 10 opening scene. Come on, Nick. Yeah, so not in fairness. This episode is so good. It is brilliant, and I could honestly make the top 14 just Pearl Island episodes, and I'd be satisfied. And there's obviously one that will get ahead of this, and I think there may be even a few that should be in the top 10, but they're probably only going to see one more.
You don't know.
I don't think there's
You
a
don't
single
know yet.
bad thing about this season at all.
All right, just in honor of Tijuana, money. Did that work? Money. Yeah, okay, dude. Whatever. Shut up. Now, before we get to the top 10, just going over number 18 through to 11, because we did number 19. So, Gabon, episode 9, Nothing Tastes Better Than $500 at 18. Number 17, Let's Make a Move, Someone Del Sur, episode 13. Number 16, Hot Girl with a Grudge, Cagayan, episode 1. 15, The Matter Approach, Token Cheens, episode 12. Coach is happy. 14, This Is My Time, Someone Del Sur, episode 14. Jury's Out, 13. Marquesas, episode 8. Number 12, We're a Hot Mess, Someone Del Sur, episode 4. And number 11, Beg Butter Still Money, Pearl Islands, episode 1. Let's get into the top 10. All the predictions are interesting too. I will say the only person who's lost one of their predictions, Rossi, you predicted the finale of Someone Del Sur, that's gone. Everybody else's predictions are still in with a shot of making it. Ooh, who will be right? Nobody had this as their top 3. This number 10 got 60 votes. It was the 12th episode of this season. Again, a recent season. The second time in the history we ever saw a rock draw. And the the title of this episode was from a very funny moment involving former names and whatever. It's Russell Feathers, episode 12 of Blood vs. Water. Mr. Shadlock, what are your thoughts on this coming in at number 10?
I think this is about right. I'm a huge Blood vs. Water fan, and I love this episode. I thought it was really cool to see the rocks, considering it hadn't been done since fourth season. I'm happy with this. I like this.
Rossi?
Yes, I do think the device of Katie Collins is a good episode indeed. I don't know if the episode as a whole is that entertaining, though. I just think that it's only voted for the rock draw. And if we were voting for tribal councils, yeah, I think it's worthy of definitely top 10, but I don't know the episode.
Okay. Colin?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Rossi. I'm starting to lose hope that any of my picks, as in the ones I personally voted for, are going to make this list, because there really does seem to be a domination of these great tribal councils where you can't really remember much that happened in the episode prior to this. But for the tribal council alone, I mean, this one was so good that they didn't care if they spoiled it the week before on the the commercials for next week. So it's a good episode. I'm hoping that there are some more coming up though, where the full episode actually is strong.
I'm intrigued actually. I might do that at the end to see what your personal picks were, not just what you think will make the top 3, but your personal ones. Jared?
Yeah, I think this is a good episode just based on sort of where it fits within the season. I think sort of at this point everything was starting to slow down a bit and become a bit more predictable, and this is probably sort of the last real moment or episode from the season where things are thrown up in the air. I mean, you had sort of the dominant returnee group, and then Sierra, and then her flipping was kind of like to go to rocks was kind of like the last chance for sort of things to turn out differently.
Noah?
It's a good episode. I don't know if it's top 25. I know this shouldn't affect the episode, but CBS spoiling it in the commercials really did affect it. It would have been so much better if we didn't know. And the fact that it was Katie who had the most minimal edit up to that point, who the one drew the rock, was a bit anticlimactic. Imagine if it was Tyson.
Oh.
So, and just based on the edits of the returnees versus the newbies, it was kind of obvious that the returnees would be safe. But it is a great episode, and I was so excited to see Rock draw back. The White Rock this time, but
It had faded over the years.
I'm not sure if it's top 25, but it's a good episode.
Just imagine, Bloodford would have probably be considered the best, right up there if that had been Tyson that had gone home. Who knows how that would have played out? Wow. That got 60 votes. So into the single digits. 67 votes this episode got. And I'm going to say this right now. I am extremely surprised this did not make it higher. Just considering what this episode is known for. The moment from this episode, I think, made it to fourth or third on our greatest moments in the history of Survivor of all time a couple of years ago. So very iconic. It's from the second season. It is episode 6 of the Australian Outback, Trial by Fire. Noah, should this be higher?
On my personal rankings, maybe not, but it really probably should be higher. Because this is one example of the whole episode being the full package and not just the tribal council, because it wasn't a tribal council. But I honestly don't think it's just this moment that makes the episode great. It's the effects of the moment and everything building up to it, and this is just epitomizes what Survivor is. So it probably should be a top 5 episode, and this was an influential episode as well, and I'm shocked it didn't get higher, but it was always going to make the top 10. So Trial by Fire really is a standout episode in Survivor's legacy.
Jared?
I think it's a fair spot for it. I think it's sort of really important just at that point in time in showing sort of how real Survivor could be. I think sort of after the first season, people wanted more, and sort of they got more, and it was a horrible thing to happen, but it did make for great TV.
Colin?
Yeah, this is really surprising. I mean, even if you consider the fact that it was so long ago, I mean, still to this day, this is the most talked about episode of Survivor ever. So it's really surprising that it's not ranked higher than this. I'm kind of afraid to see how many South Pacific, One World, and Redemption Island ones could come up after this, because there's going to be a lot of angry people if the next couple ones aren't like dynamite episodes.
Rossi?
Yeah, definitely one of the top episodes, and in the Survivor history books, maybe not for the best reason, but in the books nonetheless. I do think it's not the strongest of episodes, because after he does leave, there's about 10 minutes of sitting around the fire talking, which really isn't that entertaining. But no, great episode though, so not too upset.
Andrew?
I mean, it's like one of the most iconic episodes of all time, so I'm kind of surprised it didn't break into the top 5, but I think overall this is a decently good spot for it, in my opinion.
If there were South Pacific and One World episodes above this, Colin, I think we'd all be fired. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to...
Well, we didn't vote for it.
Of the show, but never mind. You could have voted for it, I don't know. Episode 8.
We didn't.
The 8th greatest... Okay, alright. The 8th greatest episode in the history of Survivor. 71 votes. Now, in putting the package together, I mean, you forget that this episode has so many great moments. It's more than just the tribal council. I mean, this episode involved a running race. Have we ever had a running race between two contestants on a beach before? No, I don't think we'll ever have one since. It was the downfall of one of the until then, the biggest characters, and he really had a terrible season in terms of his popularity, because he turned into a bit of an ass this season. And we saw the birth of a saying in Survivor that is still used to this day. But of course, outside of banana etiquette, we then went and saw a tribal council that involved a little troll, according to Courtney, give up his idol, and we then saw Boston Rob looking all kinds of like WTF. And after the whole Tyson situation, I do of course speak of Heroes vs Villains, episode 6, banana etiquette. And Drew Shadlock, your thoughts?
I didn't really think of this, but now that you bring it up, it actually does have a really solid episode. I don't know if top 25, because I'm still waiting to see what else comes up for Heroes vs. Villains. I still haven't heard my 2 favorites from that. But this was quite a good episode.
Rossi?
I would not peg this to make the top 25 at all. I think,
Really?
I don't know. I just feel like that's just... Well, yes and no. I feel like this is only half the episode was good, and the other half with James running and yelling for bananas. That was boring. That was nothing. Maybe not in the top. Maybe I think it should have been lower though.
Okay. Colin?
There are a lot of memorable moments from this episode, but if you asked even the most diehard Survivor fans, I don't think they would know that all of those moments were in this episode. I think that's what the difference is. If this ended up at 25, maybe, but in the top 10, I mean, you could say to anybody, you know, Scoopin' Falls in the Fire, and they can remember every scene start to finish. You mentioned Banana Etiquette, they're going to be like, oh yeah, that was one of the early episodes of Heroes vs. Villains. So I don't know if it really should be this high, but I will say the moments in the episode are memorable.
Jared?
Yeah, it has lots of sort of one-liners, and I just feel if this is in this spot, that there's probably 3 or 4 more sort of Heroes vs. Villains episodes to go further up, potentially.
Noah?
It's a great episode. I don't think it's a top 25 episode. But yeah, there are a lot of things you could dig into the episode to realise that they're great. But yeah, I'm worried for some of the ones I wanted in there now that we're getting down to the wire, and Banana Etiquette is in there, so we'll see what's next to come.
I will say that a lot of the episodes that made the top 25 were also the moments from them that are remembered. Of course, featured heavily on our greatest moments poll from 2 years ago. Thankfully, the Eddie Fox ones have gone from last year, so that's a good thing. We're into number 7 now. This one got 71 votes. Another premiere episode, and this is one that a few of you put in your top 3 predictions. It's where it all started. Episode 1 of Borneo, The Marooning. Let's start with you, Rossi. Number 7 for The Marooning.
This may sound weird, but I think it's too low. I think this is one of the greats. Yeah, it may not be the most entertaining, but this is the episode that started it all. I think that alone should warrant it at least higher than 7, even though we're getting down to the wire and you gotta be nitty-gritty about what goes where, but I think this is just a great episode and should be a lot higher.
I'm going to go to the only other person who didn't put this initially in their final 3 predictions, Colin, The Marooning.
Yeah, I don't think this is a top 5 episode, but it definitely belongs in the top 10. The interesting thing is that you go back and watch this episode now, you see it's very unpolished compared to what we're used to now. And in a way that actually makes it more fascinating. And every scene in this episode, I mean, they knew at the time, or they had no idea at the time what they were going to capture on camera, and that comes across. And there's just something different, you know, when you have contestants even in season 2 and they know how things are going to play out, they know what is going to happen after a challenge. Their reactions are different, but just the fact that every single person who landed on that beach really just was making up as they went along. I mean, it's so fascinating to watch it still to this day.
Now, the remaining 3 people, you all predicted this would be in the top 3. Noah?
I predicted it, but I don't think it should be in the top 3. I am in a mindset that just because something was iconic for starting something or revolutionizing something, it shouldn't automatically be given credit. But at the same time, I think it is a top 10 episode just because there are so many good things in there. You've got the corporate world with Rich sitting in the tree. You've got Sonia and a ukulele. And you've got the tribal council where everyone is talking over each other. And they had to bring in a conch shell a few episodes later because no one knew what they were doing. Yeah, it's a fun episode to watch, and I could watch that all day, so I'm happy with that.
Andrew?
I'm pretty surprised that it's not in the top 3 just because it is the first episode ever. I mean, it's not really that, in my opinion, I don't think it's all that entertaining compared to some of the other stuff that I love about Survivor now, but it is such a huge episode for the show. You think it's got to be up in the top 5 at least.
Jared?
Yeah, I thought it would be higher. I thought that simply just sort of being in the first episode, it would get a lot of votes, even from people who sort of hadn't watched it, just for the sake of it, sort of it being the first episode. But I mean, I'm glad it's top 10. I think it maybe deserved to be a little higher, but I think it's an okay spot.
That's for Jared that it should be a little bit higher. Never mind. All right, let's get into number 6. 87 votes. That joke involved anybody? Bueller? Anyway. Number 6, from the same season, episode 13, the finale of Borneo, the final four. And I will say that a few of you also had this. Andrew, you had this in your top three predictions. No, did not. Rossi, you did. So let's start with you, Rossi. You're a bit shocked about this one.
I was for sure a Borneo was going to be in the top, and outside these two, maybe the merger, but I don't see that getting in the top three. I was for sure this was a lock for the final three. This is in the tribal council, top three. Yeah, this is so upsetting. Richard stepping down to eat oranges in that strategy. He was always guaranteed to go. The rats and snakes and pick a number between 1 and 7 or 1 and 10, whatever he said. Yeah, severely terrible placing.
Andrew?
This is number 6?
This is number 6.
6? Yeah, I cannot believe this isn't, or at least assuming there's no Borneo episode to be in the top 3 even. I'm really surprised. I thought that this would be for sure in the top 3. It's got the rats and snakes speech, which is like one of the most known Survivor moments, and the final immunity, and it was just neat to see how they were going to wrap up the whole show, because at this point, nobody really knew how it was all necessarily going to go down, so it was really interesting to see that play out.
Colin?
I actually had this episode spoiled for me back when Borneo was airing in 2000, and yet, even though it was spoiled for me, when I watched it, I mean, it was still so entertaining, and still, every time I go back and watch it, again, like I was talking about earlier, I mean, the contestants were kind of making the game up themselves, and it's so much more interesting to watch because they're not playing to the cameras in any way, they're not strategizing as in, oh, this is what I saw in past seasons. It's completely pure game, and for that reason alone, I mean, whether, as Noah said, some people may look at it and think it's Borneo, it's the original, that therefore it has to be the best. I mean, there is something different about watching this season, so I'm glad it made it this high. Again, I didn't think it would necessarily be a top 5 episode. It's not my top 5, but it's great to see it on here.
Jared?
I think it's a good spot for it. I think it sort of, for me, the marooning is sort of more important than this episode, so I think it's a fair spot for it.
Noah?
I wouldn't put it in my top 3, but it's worthy of the top 25. Obviously, the rat snakes pushes it up a bit, but the episode leading up to it is still like really great, and you have all the Kelly stuff and one of the best final challenges ever. And I wish they'd bring back holding on to an idol for God knows how long back. That's just, you don't need to be fancy with your final challenges. Just bring that back. It always creates drama. So, yeah, unfortunately, Rudy didn't tell Kelly that her bra is undone or something a la Marquesas, but it's a great episode, and I think it's probably top 10 worthy. I want to watch it right now.
Created drama. That's what. Anyway, interestingly enough, that's what the sound effects are called, by the way. It missed out on the top 5 by 1 vote. The episode in 5th beat it by 1 vote. And before we reveal the top 5, just going on over 9 through to 6. Trial by Fire, Australian Outback, episode 6. Banana Etiquette, Heroes vs. Villains, episode 6. A lot of episode 6s in there. The Marooning, Borneo, episode 1. And the final 4, Borneo, episode 13. And at number 10, of course, was Russell Feathers, Blood vs. Water, episode 12. Alrighty, here we go, folks. The final 5. Starting off with a season we've already had 1 episode from. Very well known for a moment in this episode that also made our top 5. I believe this finished 5th on our greatest moments in the history of Survivor, so kind of fitting that it finished 5th. It was a moment led by one of the most dominant alliances in the history of Survivor, one of the greatest alliances in the history of Survivor, and it involved a certain young person giving up his immunity and then getting promptly voted out of the game. It is episode 13 of Micronesia. If it smells like a rat, give it cheese. Andrew.
I love it. I'm really happy that this made into the top 5. One of my favorite episodes of all time, for sure, so I'm glad I got the recognition.
Jared.
Yeah, I'm happy to see sort of another Micronesia episode in the list. I think it's a good episode. I think it has good build-up. There's sort of Eric, who's the person who they want to get out, but they sort of know that he's going to go on that immunity run. I think at the time, for something like that to have him giving up immunity was such a big shock to sort of all the viewers. So I think it's worthy of top 5.
Rossi.
Yeah, colossal episode in terms of its legacy. That's one of the most remembered. It's always in the tribute videos or things. It's always one of those most talked about moments. Good episode. Yeah, Jared said good build up, and just an underrated moment was the challenge that Eric won to win immunity. He said guaranteed Final Four, and then
Colin.
he wasn't guaranteed Final Four.
He wasn't. No, he wasn't. Colin.
Yeah, unlike some of the other choices that have been on here, even though this is maybe arguably the most memorable Tribal Council moment of all time, that's not the only reason this episode's on here. I mean, this was a strong episode start to finish. Like everybody else has said, if it wasn't for the build-up throughout the previous 35 minutes, that 5 to 10 minutes of Tribal Council wouldn't have mattered as much. But it's because the whole episode built it so well that moment at Tribal Council is so remembered. So this is a very good spot for it.
And Noah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because big moments like that, I feel like a lot of these are getting voted for the big moments, but they're also a part of the episode, and you can't dispute that. That's what makes the episode great. But I think the idea I've been sold on that the build-up to it was really good, and I don't think anyone really believed he was going to give up immunity, and when he did, it was just like, uh-oh. So, yeah, no veto from me.
I was going to say that. Alrighty, number 4, 94 votes. This was on, I'm looking here, 2 people's prediction that it would make the top 3, so narrowly missed out. Again, another premiere episode, and just an amazing start to an amazing season. Episode 1 of Heroes vs. Villains, Slay Everyone, Trust No One, Noah.
It's a good episode. Well, no, it's a great episode. That opening challenge is just amazing. There are so many good things about this season. Introduces everything great, coming in on the helicopters and the heroes are there, and then no one thinks they're a villain, and just so many good things. Maybe I'm going to get absolutely cursed out for this, but at times maybe it drags for a 2-hour episode. I'm sorry for saying that. And then the vote out is Sugar at the end, a bit anticlimactic to the episode. It was just like, whatever, 2 hours, and then Sugar's gone like that. So, yeah, I tend to not think it's as great as people say, but I would probably put it in my personal top 25, despite saying that. So, I'm fine with this spot, I guess, but maybe just a little bit overrated.
Jared.
I think it's in a good spot. I think for an episode to have so much hype going into it was sort of all the build-up for it to then deliver. It's kind of extra special. And I think from the start, from the first challenge, like Noah said, everything just kicked off straight away. The theme sort of came out straight away. You knew who these players, you got to know who they were sort of throughout the episode if you hadn't seen them before, and everything was really sort of explained and sort of tied up well within that one episode.
Colin.
Yeah, it's a strange episode because despite the fact that it basically destroys Sugar, who I'm a huge fan of, I can't help but love every second of this episode. And usually if I rewatch Survivor, I'm going to rewatch from start to finish the season. This is probably the only episode that's an exception. I have rewatched this episode alone 3 times in the last year without even bothering to watch any of the other ones from the season. I mean, it's just that entertaining. And I think it is kind of like what Jared said. I mean, the expectations going in were so big, and it just lives up to it in every way.
Rossi.
Yeah, an epic opening. You have the heroes touch down, and then the villains sweep sand everywhere, and they're all in their eyes and everything. And then you have all the villains saying, "Oh, we're heroes, we're good people," and those challenges are epic. The first one with all the fighting, and then the second one, where the heroes have it in the bag, and then they blow it on a puzzle. Yeah, I guess you could say Sugar voted out, but she tried cuddling with Colby at night, and she had her
Bah,
moments.
bitch.
But
Andrew.
This is actually probably my favorite episode of all time. I think it's awesome. It has my favorite challenge of all time, which is the first reward challenge. On the other hand, like, I know Sugar is kind of a disappointing boo, but I look at it as like there were so many great people on that season that for me, Sugar going home first, I was rather her than most of the other people, so I was happy in that part.
Alrighty, there we go. We're into the top 3 now. Just looking at your predictions here, people. Rossi, you've still got 1 left in your prediction. Noah, you've still got 1 left. Jared, you've still got 1 left. Colin, you've got 2 left. And Andrew, technically you have none, but you kind of gave like a half for one, so I'll let you go with that. Why not? All right. Let's get into number 3. 96 votes. The last one that didn't get to 100 votes. How many people here voted for this? 2 by the looks of things. It's a merge episode, and it's a merge episode that shifted the game. Very well known for a double idol play, which I believe was 3 again on our greatest moments of all time. It's from the same season that we just had, episode 10 of Heroes vs. Villains Going Down in Flames. Andrew, your thoughts?
This is, again, another one of my favorite episodes. I love it. I think it's in the right spot for the episode on this list. Some really, really great moments throughout the whole thing. The whole, like, leading up to the merge and seeing how the idol switching hands is going to play out actually was really, really entertaining from start to finish.
Rossi.
I think it's overhyped a little bit as an episode. It was entertaining, I'd say, throughout. Merge episodes usually are pretty good. I wouldn't say one of the best, but I think it's good. I don't think it should be in the top 3, though. Maybe 4 or 5, but not this high.
Colin?
Yeah, I can think of at least 3 or 4 merge episodes from other seasons that were better than this one. Having said that, I mean, this is a phenomenal episode, and I think anybody who voted for Banana Etiquette and somehow forgot this and the premiere really don't deserve to be voting in future polls.
Yeah, I'm going to track you all down. You're all banned.
No bananas for you.
Jared.
I'm just surprised I got something right. Finally sort of getting a point on something Survivor Oz related is a bit of a shock. It's a good episode. I mean, I put it in what I thought would be the top 3, but I don't know if it really deserves to be there, but it's just one of these things with that double idol play is just a moment that kind of makes every list, and lots of people seem to love it, so I just thought it's going to be up there. It's great. It's sort of sad seeing the JT sort of go home in flames and sort of his legacy be ruined, but I just love that the heroes kind of like spell their own demise.
Oh.
I thought you were talking about a different episode when you teased it, because it fit a lot of categories of a different episode. This is not a top 3 episode. I think I prefer the episode before it with the note and that. I think that's 1 episode before it, maybe it's 2. It's a good episode, probably 25 worthy. It's better than Banana Etiquette, but I'm upset about this only because there's 2 more spots left, and so many of the episodes I wanted aren't in the list, and they're probably not going to be in the top 2. So it's definitely a good episode, and if we did top 10 merge episodes, which I think we have, it should be in that top 10. But again, I think somebody said there's probably 5 other better merge episodes, so I think it is a good episode, but not top 3.
Well, there you go. It's made the top 3. I'm just looking here. Some of our comments aren't coming up on the page that I'm looking at, but I'm just looking here through some other ones. Riley's sending another one here. Where is all the Palau love? Well, there's still 2 episodes to go. Who knows? Riley again. Yay, the Pearl Islands premiere was so good. Thank you, Riley. Just trying to scroll through here. There might be some other ones that were missed, but apologies if that is the case. Now, before we get into the top two, I should just quickly mention Ben Powell, when he was still an Ozlet, back in 2013, did a top 10 on top 10 episodes. And just to quickly go over what was in that at the time. So he had number 10, Exile Island on Palau. That was the episode entitled, episode 10 of Palau. He had episode 9, number 9 was Slay Everyone, Trust No One, the premiere of Heroes vs. Villains. We've already had that. He had episode 7 of Marquesas, True Lies, at number 8. That hasn't come across yet. He had the Merger from Borneo, episode 7 from season 1 at number 7. He did have the Martyr Approach from Token Cheens, episode 13 at number 6. At number 5, he had Trial by Fire from Australian Outback. Number 4, he had episode 10 of Pearl Island, Swimming with Sharks, on there. That was a downfall of Rupert, if I am not to be mistaken. At number 3, he had Pearl Island's episode 11, The Great Lie. Again, we haven't seen that yet. Number 2, he had Jury's Out, Marquesas, episode 7. And to him, the greatest episode in the history of Survivor was the Final Four, the Borneo finale. So there's still a few there that we could have in the top 2. But I think we need to get to the top 2. Because you're all nervous about this, are you not? Had 100 votes this episode. It was the 11th episode of this season. And to me, this was the episode I think everybody was hanging out to be number 1. There's nothing else really to say, but it is Pearl Island's episode 11, The Great Lie, comes in at number 2. Noah, are you shocked this didn't win it?
Firstly, apologise if you can hear that rain. Classic snug.
It knows we're recording.
Hashtag blindside. What the hell is number 1? Like, what the hell? It's probably going to be like Survivor Panama episode 3 or something like.
Hey, don't knock that episode.
Poor Misty Giles. I have no idea, but I don't necessarily think it was the best episode. I just thought, by process of elimination, had to be number 1. Again, it's probably not my number 1. It is a great episode, and not just for the lie. The whole episode is really great from start to finish. Not many negative things to say about it, but I'm very curious to see what will be number 1. There's a few potentials, but
I'll ask you soon what you think it will be.
Yeah, although I have no idea, so when you ask me, yeah.
For those playing at home, episode 3 of Panama, entitled Crazy Fights, Snake Dinners, came in at 310th with no votes. So, no, it didn't make the top. Jared, The Great Lie. What do you think about this, number 2?
Yeah, I think it was at the top of a lot of people's lists. It's one of those moments where even people sort of who don't watch Survivor sort of know about it. And just the episode itself, from the loved one visit, walking the plank, everything about it is sort of worthy of being in the top 10 and at that to the top of the list. So yeah, I'm just trying to go through my head what will be number 1, but I think this is a fair spot for it.
We'll say that the lie itself, the moment that Johnny Fairplay told the lie, was voted as the greatest moment in the history of Survivor by our listeners 2 years ago. Colin, The Great Lie, number 2.
In a way, I'm happy this isn't number 1, because I'm hoping that number 1 is an episode where start to finish, everything about it is memorable. And you would really have to struggle to find a person who could mention who went home during The Great Lie, which I think it was Tijuana. Noah might be able to correct us on that. But like, what was the lead up to Tijuana being voted out? For that reason alone, I'm a little bit happy that it's not the number 1, but I probably will be disappointed if the next one has just as disappointing of a tribal council.
It was Tijuana as the vote out, just to confirm that point there, Colin. Rossi.
Noah, that was really freaky, because I was literally about to say, if this is number 2, what's number 1? Episode 3 of Panama? It was really freaky you chose that episode to say. But in doing the commentary recently, that episode is great, start to finish. Yeah, you could say Tijana, whatever her name is, had an
Kate.
anticlimactic. Kate? Okay, Kate had an
That's
anticlimactic.
Kate. That's who she's talking about.
I guess you could say it was anticlimactic, but I think the lie makes up for it tenfold.
Okay, Andrew.
I'm definitely glad this isn't number one. I didn't think that it should have won the 25 greatest moments, in my opinion. So I would have been pretty crushed if it ended up with 2 titles in this of these polls. I definitely wouldn't even probably put it in my top 10 episodes. I'm just not that big of a fan. I think it is a great episode, top 25 probably, but I think for me this is way too high.
You know what's interesting is that I know Johnny Fairplay will see this list published. He won't actually listen to this episode, and he'll probably go off about it on Rob Has a Podcast or something, so whatever. So, alrighty then. I'm going to get your guesses, but I'll just quickly say that of all the predictions pre-episode, Colin, you said that the Palau finale is in the top 3. So that hasn't been chosen yet. And Rossi, you said the Thailand finale. So, maybe. Quickly, Andrew, try to guess what will be the greatest episode of all time.
I think based on recency, we might be saying the Merge episode from Cagayan.
Rossi?
That's my only thought.
Okay.
Well, I said Thailand finale, but that's probably a personal list as opposed to the actual list. So I'm just going to go with the merger from Borneo.
Colin?
I'm really hoping it's the Palau finale. If it is, it will be the only one of the 3 episodes I voted for that actually ended up in the top 25.
Jared?
I'm thinking the same as Andrew. I just think the Merge episode of Cagayan is it's good from start to finish, and I'm just surprised that it hasn't come up yet. It's the one thing where I really thought it would be on the top 25 somewhere, probably lower than 1, but I mean, if it hasn't come up yet, maybe it's number uno.
Noah?
Well, nothing I've voted for has come up. I think Colin probably has a good chance with the Palau finale, and if it isn't, it probably should be in the top 25. But just the fact that Cagayan Merge has not come up leads me to think it's number 1. I wouldn't put it number 1, but I was shocked that it hasn't been picked, which makes me think it probably will be picked next. Other than that, yeah, Lord knows, Panama episode 3.
Alrighty. Let's try this button here. If this, let's try that again. Okay, nothing wants to work now. The sound effects have died on me. Oh, that one wants to work. I wanted to do fanfare. No, fanfare doesn't want to work. Alright, then
We
whatever.
can hear it. You're doing it.
We
It's
can hear
happening. It's working.
It's not coming through
It
my
works every
speakers.
time.
Everyone's like, I start pressing it, man, start pressing it, and I can't hear it. So I'm gonna try this one more time. I still can't hear that. So I hope you can. Alrighty, this got 130 votes. It got 30 more than The Great Lie, and this was number 1 the entire time. This was never unseated from the top. I saw this on day 1, and it was not challenged at all. I wasn't in my personal top 3, but I think this is a fantastic episode. I just watched this recently, and this is an episode I can watch over and over again because I think there was so much build-up, there was so much tension to it, and then the way it all came about, to me, the greatest reaction ever to a vote ever. Andrew and Noah, you were sold on it. Jared, you were sold on it. Episode 6 of Cagayan, Head of the Snake. It's the Merge episode, the greatest episode in the history of Survivor, as voted by our listeners. Noah, is this the greatest episode of all time?
Probably not, but I hope people don't call it recency bias because this is a phenomenal episode. Hands down, that is my favourite tribal council of all time. I don't know if I can budge on that. That is amazing. Everything about that tribal council and the 2 idol plays, and then the big dun 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 first vote, Jeffra, and everything falls apart. And then it's not even Jeffra who goes home. Sarah goes home, and who flipped, and Cass, 0 chance of winning the game, and everything about that was amazing. And the build-up to it was so good because it's not really spoken about now because we know how Cass turned out, but going into that episode, Cass wasn't flipping. Like, people might say now, oh yeah, I saw that coming. Like, Cass was not flipping going into that episode. Like, she didn't. She got a bit of a kind of edit, but it wasn't like she was painted to be like, oh, I hate this alliance or something. I want to flip. So it was just so like, I can't believe that happened, and everything about the episode was just so good. One of the best downfalls from Sarah, who says she's the president. It's not my number one, but I'm very happy for it being the number one because I can't say any flaw in this episode. And again, I really hope it doesn't get labelled as recency bias because I don't think it is.
Well, I'm just publishing the article now with everything, but I pretty much said that, Noah, like in my write-up. I said, look, people can scream recency bias, but I guarantee you if we did this list in 10 years' time, this would probably still be in the top 5, like at least. Like this is a brilliant episode. Again, might be alone in that opinion, whatever. Jared, is it the greatest episode of all time?
Not my greatest episode of all time, not what I'd put there, but I think it doesn't tarnish the spot. It's sort of worthy of being up there, and if number one, sort of so what. I mean, it's one of those episodes I think where the more that you think about, the more moments you remember from it that sort of come flooding back to mind, and you can definitely sort of justify its spot at the top of the list. I mean, we just had the episode before with Tony with the whole like top 5 baby, and you thought surely like that's been shown that's going to backfire on him, and then just from sort of the more subtle moments in it to the Cass and sort of Sarah argument, to Trish picking up on that and going to talk to Cass, and then just everything sort of panning out the way it did. It sort of was one of those episodes that was great from the start all the way to the very end.
Now, Colin, before I go to you, I will say that the Palau finale, the ultimate shock, finished off in 28th spot, 18 votes. So 1 vote away from cracking the top 25, just to make it a little bit worse for you. So the merge episode of Cagayan, is it the greatest episode of all time, Colin?
Before we talk about that, let's remove some of these San Juan del Sur and Caramoans, and then the Plow finale is properly in this. So let's just pretend that's what happened. As far as this episode, I mean, I might put it inside my top 10, but that really shouldn't take away from the episode. If anybody can think of a stronger episode post Heroes versus Villains, please make an argument for it. You might have 1 or 2 suggestions, but I mean, it's hard to find anything after Heroes versus Villains that's as strong as this episode. And I actually not really have the opinion that it's like Sarah really, shot herself in the foot in this. But one way or the other, I mean, this is one of those episodes where you can look at it so many different ways, and it's not just clear cut. And yeah, as we're talking about, I mean, the previous episode really had us thinking this was going to play out differently. So I'm very happy this made the list, and I agree with you, Ben. If we redo this in 5 years, 10 years, this will probably always be a top 10 episode for sure. So nothing should really take away from that.
Rossi, for your benefit, the Thailand finale, slipped through your fingers, came in at 59th. It only got 6 votes. So there you go. Rossi, your thoughts on this being number 1?
Yeah, I think the episode, along with the season's overrated. I don't really think this should be I don't know if it should make the top 3. I'm not a big fan of it. I think, other than the Tribal Council, there's nothing about this episode that stands out.
Okay, wow, big call. All right, Andrew?
I'm really happy to see it on this list for sure. I think that it'll definitely stand the test of time. I mean, it might drop, might not stay as episode number 1, but I definitely think it'll be top 5, top 5, top 10. It's a great episode. There's a lot of really good moments leading up to the Tribal Council, and then it's just got to be one of the best Tribal Councils for sure. It's a great episode.
So go over quickly. The final 5. If it smells like a rat, give it cheese. Number 5, Micronesia, episode 13. Episode 1 of Heroes vs. Villains, Slay Everyone, Trust No One at number 4. Episode 10 of Heroes vs. Villains, Going Down in Flames at number 3. Episode 11 of Pearl Islands, The Great Lie at number 2. And according to you, the greatest episode of all time, The History of Survivor, Episode 6 of Cagayan, Head of the Snake. Well done. Congratulations. And I know we're probably going to get a lot of, oh my God, recency bias like we did with the Oscar last year. But look, we'll see how that all plays out. Just quickly before I close this out, because I think we've had a lot of fun doing this, and we've done this nice and succinctly and wrapped it up and haven't taken 5 hours like other ones. What were your personal picks, Noel? What were your 3 that you voted for?
I don't know if I voted for what I would actually have, more so ones I wanted to see in the top, because if you ask me my top 3 now, I don't know if I could tell you. So I voted for ones I really wanted to be in there, even if I didn't think they were the best, and that was Kaguya episode 6, so that made it, obviously, and San Sir episode 4, that made it, obviously, and the one, Colin put the challenge out there, an episode better post Heroes vs. Villains. I think there is one, and I think that is Survivor Philippines episode 4, which I am so gutted did not make this list because it is such a flawless episode. Start to finish, like it opens with 2 minutes of silence with Matt Singh trying to make fire, and you have one of the most dramatic challenges ever with the best editing, and you have Russell Swan's sob story, and then the Russell Swan boot, who was a returning player who would normally go far, and even then it wasn't complete clear cut that he was going home. So I actually think that is the best episode post Heroes vs. Villains. It is just so damn good, and I'm absolutely devastated it didn't make it. And where did that one finish?
51st, had 8 votes.
Yeah. Oh, come on, that is top 5.
Top 5, baby, top 5. Jared, what were your 3 votes?
Just trying to think back. I think it was the Marooning from Borneo, the premiere episode of Micronesia, and then the first Outcast episode from Pearl Island.
Interesting. Colin, what were your 3?
I obviously had the Palau finale in there. Also, Smoking Out the Snake from Africa, which is Lex's witch hunt that leads to Kelly accidentally being voted out for a vote she never cast. I mean, I think that's such an underrated episode. I didn't expect that one to make the list. One, again, that I didn't expect to make the list, but I mean, if anybody listening to this were to go back, watch this episode, if we redid this, I guarantee it would be on there, because if every person watches this episode, it's hard to deny. Episode 6 of China, where there was the whole search for the immunity idol with Todd and Frosty and Amanda, and then you had the chicken fetus challenge with Denise. I mean, I can't think of any pre-merge episodes that are that entertaining with so much going on. I'm kind of disappointed that one didn't make it, although I didn't expect it to.
Smoking Out the Steak came in at 53rd, just quickly searching through the list there, Colin. 7 votes that got. And for China, episode 6, that's Love, baby. It makes you strong. That came in at 106th with 3 votes. So we will post the full list of these in the coming days, so if anybody has an episode, they're trying to work out if it got votes or not. Rossi, what were your 3?
I think my first one, no, the morning, then the final 4, and I believe my last one, I don't know, I think I did the merger from Borneo as well. I think I went 3 Borneo.
Andrew, what was yours?
I did the Heroes vs. Villains premiere. I had the final 4 from Borneo, and I think the last one I did that I'm pretty surprised never made on this list was the merge episode from All Stars with the whole "if I told you if I could have saved her I would have," and I'm surprised that didn't make the list. So
that was in my top 3. I was surprised it didn't make the list too. So
how far did that go down?
That made it pretty close. Just quickly here, I made it a 27th.
Okay, that makes me feel a little better. So it was close.
It was tied with the Palau finale, so just missed out. So there you go. Anyway, all right. So as I said, we will put the full list up. Thank you to everybody who's watching this live. First of all, to Ann Curtis, to Riley, to Total Drama Fan, was it not? Total Drama Fan. Thank you very much. And James, I saw James Pickering chime in there. But he's gone. Let's go around the room here quickly. Andrew, mate, thank you. It's good to have you back here on an episode. I'm very glad that you could have made it for this. Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully I'll get to be around a little more.
Yes, we'll fingers crossed. Rossi, for you, as always, pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
I wanted a fanfare, not a clap.
Well, you can hear that. I can't hear that. I'm giving that to you. Colin, mate, thank you once again. I thought you'd be sick of doing these episodes after what we had to put through for 34 hours, but whatever, you're here, so.
Couldn't I get the wah wah wah?
All right, there you go.
There we go.
Jared can have the money. Jared, thank you for your time today.
Thanks. It was fun. It was good.
And Noah can get the, because he's a joke, Noah Gross. And I will say, Noah, you're going away for a couple of weeks. You're going off to visit James in London. So have fun. We get to live without Noah for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but you're still going to hear me every week, unfortunately, on the rankings cast, which I highly suggest you listen to. And a few questionable choices in this one, but for the most part, it's a pretty good list. And I look forward to talking about Survivor Worlds Apart Season 30.
Now, I will say that Noah's brought that into a perfect segue. Starting this Friday, folks, you're going to have to sit yourself down, get yourself a couple of pre-cooked meals, and get yourself comfortable for 34 hours, because basically for the next 3 or so weeks we're going to be sharing all the episodes, all the parts of the episodes that we did, ranking every single contestant, 442 down to number 1. We start this Friday with episode 1, and I believe that's split into 2 parts. That's the shortest of them all. So in total, episode 1 goes for 5 hours and 2 minutes, but that's separated, folks. You don't have to listen to it for 5 hours. But we will spread them out slightly, so you're not expected to listen to them all in one day. But stay tuned for that on Friday. I will also say that we do have some interviews coming up at the end of this week. We'll post Get Involved up for you to be able to get some questions in and everything along those lines. And as I kind of mentioned at our Worlds Apart preview, there will be some things that will be slightly different coming up into Worlds Apart. There may be some delayed in getting some episodes out, and you might hear some other voices hosting some episodes. For example, we're hoping to bring the Amazing Race Oz back, but that might be completely hosted by Noah and Colin. Maybe Colin, if you... We'll talk about that. I don't think I'm going to be involved in that at all this season, but we'll see how that all plays out. Just stay tuned to our website, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on iTunes and YouTube as well. And as always, we thank you very much for your support. Until next January, when we count down another 25, we don't know what it will be yet. You'll be voting, of course, in the Oscars in a few more months as well. Until then, my name is Ben. This has been Survivor Oz. We will speak to you next time on The Trains.